Okay, so what is it that you are saying? I'm confused.
So I'm gonna try and put this as straightforwardly as I can. The way I look at it, we're living in the same world.
You mean the world that tortures, the world that denies veterans, their health care, the world in which Hillary deletes her emails and doesn't have to be accountable, this evil world, in which humanity is being hollowed out. Are you admitting that that's the world we live in?
I'm gonna say we're living in the same world.
So is that the world?
I will say I don't look at the world that I'm living in as this evil world.
You don't. So you don't see the fact that we've tortured and we're still torturing people in Guantanamo. We've not given the veterans what they deserved as far as everything else. The debacle there. I mean, I'm trying to understand what world do you live in then? One that's rose-colored glasses. I'm trying to understand.
Well, I'm not going to say rose-colored glasses, but I'm going to say that how one perceives the world, that has a lot to do with what your mental processes are.
And how should somebody perceive the world if they have a signed confession from the city that's never admitted to having broken federal emergency law?
I'm not sure that that's a question.
Well, shall I ask it again and put the question mark beside it? It wasn't a rhetorical question. I have a signed confession from the city admitting that it broke federal emergency law and has never explained it to me. That's not a world I'm living in, or a world that you're living in?
Sure. As I said, we're living in the same world.
Oh, wonderful. So now, why do I have to live in this world where I have somebody who will admit that they've broken the law but can't come forward and do the right stuff? Oh, and the person who works for this department, is offering me and telling me that it's my perception of the world that's wrong, when I've just pointed out that, for example, I have a signed confession and the Department of Public Health can't come clean about it.
I guess it's getting back to the question about what you would be hoping to get out of mental health care. Because
I guess that gets to the question as to what you have to offer through mental health care. Will it be an acknowledgement of the truth? Will it put the patient, on a track to where he can heal and get better? Or will it just be a vindication and show that maybe the patient is correct and it's all a lie, and that maybe mental health will support him in that, as opposed to, let's say, the APA, which, said that they didn't torture but allowed the torture to happen in Guantanamo. I know about all these games that the medical industry plays. So, that's the reason I'm asking the appropriate questions.
So why would you want to be referred for mental health care?
I just told you. I'm the well-adjusted individual. I will tell the truth in the mental health care, and they can tell me whether I'm misperceiving things or whether the world is truly messed up. The world that you just acknowledged we both live in. Thereby invalidating your feelings about how you feel about the world, because they'll validate that, yes, the world is messed up. And you are right, Grant. And we need to work on changing these things so that it won't be so messed up, as opposed to it going along cheerily, wonderfully for you, because, maybe you have a good job. Maybe you found your way into a system that maybe doesn't do these things for other people, but you're going to do your part, wash your hands of the rest. Geez, I mean, why wouldn't I want mental health care in this system to continue to tell the truth, and to continue to vindicate that, I'm doing things right. I want to get better. If I'm doing something wrong, I want to get better. So, they'll tell me what I'm doing wrong.
I sounds like it's going to be really hard for you.
How's it going to be hard for me telling them the truth? Or maybe it'll be hard for them to acknowledge the truth. Sort of like what we're going through right now with the APA, not acknowledging its part in the torture that it played upon the Guantanamo victims and never taking part as their medical profession. So you see, doctor, maybe the truth will come out and expose everything. And the reason it will be hard is because there has to be a hard admission that it's not I who's failing. You hear that?
Yeah, I think that it's going to, if you're saying, gee, this is something that I want help with, but that's something that I don't see the expectation. I mean, if the expectation is to expose something, maybe you'll be able to. But the expectation for most of the time for mental health providers, when somebody comes in, is a recognition, hey, there's something that's going on with me, and I want to be able
I
to...
just acknowledged all that. There is something going on with me. I'm a well-adjusted individual in a maladjusted society that can't adjust to disorder. I've acknowledged all of that. I've pointed out where there's disorder. Nobody's been willing to step up and acknowledge the disorder, that they've done stuff wrong. I just told you I have a signed confession from the city and nobody stepped forward to it. Who has the disorder, doctor? And how is, not telling me the truth, and working with the truth going to help my disorder? By you saying that, me going to these people is going to be wrong because they're not going to be able to help me. How can you even suggest that if I'm going to go to them with the right intentions, tell the truth, and expect to get help? Or could it be you just don't want me to expose the entire system as not working, not being accountable? Which is it, doctor? I don't know anymore. I'm wondering, why won't you send me out for mental health? That's what I need.
Well,
everybody's claiming.
Yeah, and I don't want to harm you.
You don't want to harm me.
So I think, as I said, trying to be thoughtful about what we do, so that it's.
So if I need mental health care, you can't provide it because you believe it's going to harm me.
I believe that.
And right now, I'm telling you, I need mental health care.
I hear you.
So you're not going to provide it.
And I'm going to do my best to figure out, is there mental health care that matches what you need, that's not going to harm you.
And this is coming from the doctor who can't acknowledge that the Department of Public Health in the past has broken the law and not come clean about it to somebody with an adjustment disorder.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
This is coming from a doctor who I showed in a settlement agreement to where the city admitted that it had broken federal law, that they can't come clean, and you're telling me that, you're going to try and get me health care that's not going to harm me, mental health care. I'm confused. I've just told you that the city's never come clean. Can you acknowledge that? If I'm supposed to have trust that you're going to be looking out for my mental health care.
Not only don't I know enough about that situation, I don't think I'm going to be able to know enough about that situation.
What do you mean? If I show you a signed settlement agreement that acknowledges fault and guilt like I did last time, you can't read what's in front of you and acknowledge it?
Correct, because I don't understand all the legalities of it.
Oh. Okay. All right. So in your professional view as a doctor, you don't understand the legalities of a signed settlement agreement which admits fault and liability for breaking federal law, but yet you're going to try and help me get my mental health care.
I think I can say yes to that.
Oh, I'm sure you could say yes. It can look awfully ridiculous. Of course, please. I wonder what it's going to look like to the YouTube viewers. More false hope, more rigged methodology to make me despair more. Certainly doesn't sound like it's helpful or advocating for me. Well, should I bring in my signed settlement agreement so that you can read it and maybe ask the correct people about the legality of it and give me a correct answer?
You could, but honestly, I want to tell you, I want to try and provide you with the medical care you need here now.
That's my point. I have an adjustment disorder, and working through my adjustment disorder is acknowledging the wrong that's happened to me so that I can go forward. So how are you working on it now with me if, you're resistant to all these correct approaches?
Well, I guess I just am trying the approaches that I think will be helpful to you.
Okay, and I am telling you the approaches that will be helpful to me. So why are they being denied?
Because I honestly don't know that I can be helpful in the way you're asking me to.
And yet I'm supposed to have faith and trust that you're going to be the proper doctor for me and provide everything that's required legally and correctly.
Again, that's something that you need to come to.
Me and the whole YouTube audience, by watching all of this, Would anybody out there have faith at this point? I'm here asking for mental health. You're going to do the best you can do so that they can't harm you. You haven't elaborated on what that means. I've told you that I can bring you legal documents that show where the Department of Public Health has broken the law so that, we can feel one-on-one. Okay, I'll let you go.